Hello friends, in today's video I am going to be doing a recipe. It's this apple nut muffins. I will hold it here for a minute. So let me just do it this way. There's the ingredients if you want to screenshot that. There's the directions. You want to screenshot that. Rather than me having to try to type this into the description box, you guys can just take screenshots. Makes it easier for everyone. Alright, so I have this recipe book. Apples, apples, apples. I got this while we were camping years ago. We were camping in the fall, and one of the campground we were at had like a historical site like next to it with a museum and a gift shop and stuff. And I saw this recipe book in there, and I love apples and I love cooking with apples, and so I picked this book up as a souvenir and also to actually use. Haven't done a whole lot of recipes out of it, but I have done a few. And I'm going to do these today because I have these apples that are not rotten, but they're getting wrinkly and they're past their prime to eat, like just as to pick up an apple and eat them. We kind of went through a phase where we were eating apples a lot, and then, you know, we kind of got out of that. And so these have gotten past their prime, but I don't want to waste them or throw them away. The recipe calls for 2 cups peeled diced apples. Well, I'm going to use up all of these apples. I don't know how much that's going to make. I may end up doubling this recipe, because if I get 4 cups out of that, then I will just double the recipe. I am going to be doing a few alterations to it just because I am really trying hard to reduce my sugar and do more natural sugars. And so in the filling it calls for packed brown sugar. I am going to use coconut sugar for that. It has the same kind of molassesy flavor. And for the sugar, I'm going to substitute that with my stevia blend. And then it calls for 1.5 cups of sour cream. I don't have any sour cream, so I looked up online how you could substitute it, and it says for every cup of sour cream, use 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. So since this recipe calls for 1.5 cups of sour cream, I'm just going to use a cup of buttermilk. I don't know if the math is exactly right on that. I just guesstimated. And I think the rest of it is going to pretty much stay the same. I'm going to use regular flour. I'm not going to use any of my hand or home milled flour. I'm just going to use the all-purpose flour that I have. So let's get started. Let's get these apples peeled and diced. apples, I got 6 cups of diced apples out of it. The recipe only calls for 2. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm not going to double the recipe right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and put the other 4 cups. I'll divide it up into 2 bags and stick them in the freezer, and then I'll have enough to make these muffins again on another occasion, or I can make a different recipe and the apples will already be done and ready to go. I'm going to put a little bit of lemon juice on the ones that I'm going to freeze, just to keep them hopefully from turning brown. I don't think it matters that much, especially when you're putting them in a baked good, if they turn brown, but that's what I'm going to do. In the saucepan I have 2 tablespoons of butter. Obviously it's melted. And to that you're going to add a tablespoon of flour. And then it says 5.5 tablespoons of packed brown sugar, which equals out to 1/4 cup plus another 1.5 tablespoons. And that's coconut sugar. I told you I was going to substitute that. And then you add in 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, ground cinnamon, and about 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. I'm going to grind a nutmeg. That's probably close enough. So you just stir this till it's smooth. And then you add 2 cups of apples to this. And you cook it for 10 minutes or until the apples are tender. Once the apples are cooked down, you stir in 1/2 cup of chopped nuts, whatever kind you like. These happen to be pecans. And then you just set this aside and let it cool. You let it cool while you're working on the muffin batter. So we'll be putting together the muffin batter next. While the filling is cooling, we're going to make the muffin batter. So in this bowl, I have 3/4 cup of butter. It's 1/2 stick plus 1 full stick. And you're going to cream that together with the sugar. And as I said, I am using the stevia blend. Woo! See that powder? Stevia blend is 3/4 cup. If you're using regular sugar, it'd be 1.5 cups of sugar. And you just cream these together, and then you add the eggs one at a time. 3 eggs. So I'm going to get this creaming, and then I will add the eggs. So you're going to mix the dry ingredients together, and so in this bowl I have 3.5 cups of flour, and then to that you're going to add 1.5 teaspoons baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons baking soda, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, And ordinarily you would add the vanilla to the liquids if you had a liquid vanilla, but I'm all out of liquid vanilla, so I'm using my powdered vanilla, and so I'm going to go ahead and add that to the dry ingredients. If you're using liquid vanilla, it's 1.5 teaspoons. So you just go ahead and mix all of the dry ingredients together. And then you're going to add them to the mixing bowl, alternatively, the flour with the, if you're using sour cream, with the sour cream. But like I said, I'm using buttermilk, which my buttermilk is almond milk, 1 cup of almond milk with about a tablespoon of lemon juice in it. That's how I make my buttermilk, and that's what I'm substituting for sour cream since we don't have any sour cream. If I had the sour cream, I would use it, but we just don't happen to have any right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the dry. I'm going to put some dry ingredients in, mix that up, and then add part of the milk, and so on till everything is incorporated. All right, we're ready to fill our muffin cups, and what you do is I'm going to be using this scoop, cookie scoop. You put 1 scoop of the batter in. So it's about half full with the filling, and then you put another scoop on top. And I'm going to use my spoon to smooth it out. And then you take cinnamon sugar, and this is stevia blend and cinnamon, and you sprinkle that on top for each one of these. I had to fuss a little bit with the amount of batter that I put on top because I wanted to make sure the filling was covered, and that batter's kind of sticky, so it was a little bit, not challenging, just took a little longer than I thought it would. Anyway, you put these in a 350-degree oven for 25 to 27 minutes. You cool for 5 minutes in the pan, and then you take them out and let them cool the rest of the way on a wire rack. When I get all the muffins done, I'll bring you back and I will taste one for you. Here they are, all done out of the oven. Forgive the dishwasher sound. This recipe dirtied up quite a few dishes. I'll give you that warning, it did dirty up several dishes, but that's okay. I got the dishwasher going. And also I had a little bit more batter than I had filling, and so I just went ahead and threw some chocolate chips, little miniature chocolate chips in, and I got 3 little chocolate chip muffins. I'm really glad I didn't double the recipe because I would have had a ton of muffins. So I've got the apples in the freezer. I can always do this recipe again. All right, I'm going to go ahead and try one of these for you. I think they're going to be I cut it open and look how delicious that looks. Yum. can't wait to taste it. That is very, very delicious. The batter part, the muffin part, is so tender and moist and flavorful. You could use this basic batter dough for any kind of filling. I mean, you could have mix-ins in it. Just as a basic muffin, it really tastes delicious. And then that filling, oh, it tastes like a cross between a pecan and an apple pie. It is so good. So overall, these muffins they're just a little bit fussier than a normal muffin. It takes a little bit more effort than just throwing the ingredients together and putting them in a muffin tin, but they are absolutely delicious. I would definitely recommend that you give these a try, especially if you have some apples that are a little bit past their, you know, eating them fresh, you know, instead of throwing them away if they're getting a little bit wrinkly. This is a perfect recipe for using up those apples. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below, and have a great day. Bye-bye.